Hello and welcome to this week's weekly update. The inner circle. Start with the dollar index. Been a very quiet week. Real holiday doldrums here. We've had some minor negatives, which would be enough to take some profit on any people who are long. It's not at resistance though, so no real reason to get short in this. You have to. We've really stuck between those two weekly levels, those black lines. Onto the euro dollar. Had the negative the week before, had a minor resistance, and then we had a very small positive on Tuesday. Again, not at support and very quiet. The yen. Had a positive the week before, but not at that major support point at 104.79, and again, not a great deal going on. Has been some action in the pound, obviously news driven. Had the positives the week before, told us that the downtrend was over, so profit taking was only really for the most aggressive to think about getting long, and actually some of the cross rates were a little bit more interesting. 124.44, the original breakdown point, is the target. Said that Aussie had posted a very rare signal, and what we were doing is then waiting for the breakout, which never came. So again, very quiet. There is what is called a bear trap just below, so 67.00 to 66.77 is a reference area. If it comes into there and reverses sharply, be watching out to see if there's any buy signals. Kiwi, still no friends after the interest rate cut, and no real positives appearing at the moment. Dollar CAD, also very quiet. Support is rising though, it's up to 132.47. As the pound is the only one that's really doing anything, I think it's worthwhile to have a quick look at some of the crosses, just see if we can generate a bit of interest here. Euro pound, first of all, we had all those diamonds at the top there, which signalled that the uptrend was over, and there was a timing point there as well. We came back to the breakout point earlier on in the week, and then convincingly broke down on Thursday. So 91.32 is a very powerful resistance now. No support until 87.93. Let's do pound yen. This has been pretty quiet really. Still got a weekly level above, so not much to report there. Pound Aussie. Had a positive the week before, but not a support, and that's coming up to some resistances. 185.22 is a powerful level. Probably against the Kiwi, it's been doing the best. Yep. So, very rare buy signal about a month ago. You see that pale blue square, so a bit like what appeared on the Aussie, and then we've broken up through the daily resistance. So 204.79 is the upside target, and we'll finish off with pound CAD. Got very close to a massive and very powerful monthly and weekly support zone. Didn't quite get there. Resistance is a long way away. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Right, let's move on to equities. Start off with the S&P. I said before that it really doesn't know what it wants to do. It's very choppy. We're ignoring that monthly level completely. We did hold the weekly support the week before, but we need to see some sort of major breakout to give us any sort of clue where we're going. Had the positive on the Nasdaq the week before, and we've edged higher, but again, pretty quiet. Dow. Again, it's ignoring that weekly level, isn't it? And if we look at the cash, Similar story really. Go to the Russell. And the Russell's also held its weekly support pretty well the week before, but again, not a great deal going on. Go to the DAX. Recovered. Got back above that weekly zone on Monday. So that's a pretty important level, so around the 11,575 point. Not much in the way of resistance. Euro stocks, pretty nondescript. FTSE, also pretty nondescript. Not getting hit by the strength in the pound though, which is a minor positive. And the Australia also pretty quiet. Let's move on to precious. Start with gold. We had some negatives on gold. It was enough to take some profits if anyone was long on the breakout. It's been pretty quiet since though. 1467 the key point. Silver very quiet. Platinum also pretty quiet. Palladium also very quiet, although the uptrend is over as signalled by those diamonds. Onto energy, crude oil. Week, coming into the end of the week as it were, but we're really trapped in a big piece of sideways. Interesting thing is that support's going to strengthen down at 50.45. Unleaded. Also, not a lot to report there. Sorry, that was heating oil I'm talking about, unleaded. This is unleaded. Big weekly and monthly zone can form. Gonna have to wait for the end of the month for that blue line. Quick look at the crack. Oh, some bad data on the crack, so can't look at that. Nat gas had a negative, but very, very quiet. And nat gas in the UK. Drifting lower. Weather's pretty nice here. Go on to the other grains. Start with beans. Again, we had a sell the week before and we've just drifted lower after the what was deemed to be a bullish report for beans, but it hasn't really transferred. Corn also pretty poor, quiet. The crop is improving, which is unusual for this time of year. Soy meal. Soy meal forming a very, very big base at 29.12. Bean oil had the negative the week before and we've edged lower. Wheat. Had some minor positives, but not at support, and really Kansas and Minneapolis have been pretty poor. Yeah, so Kansas is just staying below that breakdown point without really accelerating. Minneapolis broken down the week before and is very quietly just drifting lower. Rough rice. Also pretty poor week. Let's go on to softs, cotton. Some positives there, but not at support. OJ. Positives again on Wednesday, but no follow through. It's pretty quiet. cocoa. Downtrend over. Those diamonds appeared, so after the breakdown from a couple of weeks ago. Coffee, not much to say about coffee, still in the doldrums really. Sugar, some minor positives, but again very, very quiet. Alright, we'll finish up with bond markets. Start with treasuries. Diamonds signalled that the uptrend was over on Monday, and we're sort of chop. Stated before, no interest in being short. Ideally, would like a decent correction down. Think about getting long again. Ultras again, very, very similar signals. Uptrend over, drifted a bit lower. 10-year notes, similar story. And really, when you think about equities in no man's land, can't make up mind what they want to do, then not surprisingly, we're seeing the same thing in bonds. 5-year notes, also a little slow drift into Europe. Bunds, again, uptrend over. Pretty weak yesterday, but getting some of that back today. Buxels, again, had some signals, held the daily support. It was actually the shorter part of the curve that underperformed, yeah. So you can see bobbles were pretty poor yesterday. The uptrend was over with the diamonds. When you go into Shats I think had probably the biggest move of all, yeah. So to spread it out a little bit. Yeah, so Shats were pretty poor yesterday, grabbing some of that back. And then go to France. France actually, again, uptrend over. BTP, doing reasonably well. And we'll finish off with gilts as usual. Uptrend over as of today, so sorry, as of yesterday, just to create today's bar there. So no reason to be long. So all in all, bit of a nondescript week really, very little to get enthusiastic about. Okay, thank you.